What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Here with another video. As you can see, it's just audio. Just audio. Yeah, I just wanted to upload I don't want to call it a podcast because it's just me by myself sharing my thoughts, but I just wanted to talk about the UFC, man. I don't know. I feel like talking today. I always feel like talking. Such a pressure to have like some sort of gameplay behind it. I don't really like. Sometimes I want to play, sometimes I don't. Can't force myself to do something I don't want to do. Anyways, I want to talk about the UFC because I just love the UFC. I'm a big fan of it. Picked up on it late, very late actually, but I still watch my history. Did watch not too far back if I'm being honest. Probably like I don't know. I don't know how far back I've actually gone. It's just because I go from one video to another, and I watch a lot of podcasts involving the UFC, like the Joe Rogan podcast, the Ben Askren podcast. I watch the Tyron Woodley's his YouTube channel. I know it's not really a podcast. Ariel, his little podcast that he has. All of it. I watch all of it. I consume so much of it. I love it so much. So I just want to talk about today, like just who I like, and just share my opinion. So first of all, I wanna, dude, I get so happy when I talk about the Diaz brothers, dude. Like so happy, cause they are absolutely insane, man. I have the utmost respect for the Diaz brothers. I don't think anyone should not have respect for the Diaz brothers. They're just themselves, dude. They absolutely are themselves in the octagon or outside of the octagon, dude. One thing, like, you gotta realize that those men are made for the UFC. Those guys are literally made to go in there and take punches and talk shit to you and wipe the blood out their face and rub it on their chest and then slap you with it right afterwards, dude. Those guys are what I call absolute OG gangsters, dude. What like everybody for some reason, well, nowadays it's arguable because if you're a fan of the UFC, you understand that rankings right now don't really matter. It's just if you know how to talk shit and you know how to work your way up to a title fight or a super fight, you will get it. There's still like you have to earn it in a sense, and sometimes just talking can earn you that title fight. But really, you gotta really like. Wow, I just went so off topic. You gotta understand that these men just don't talk. These men go in there and they do what they say they're gonna do. These men go in there and if he tells you in the press conference, both of them, if they tell you in the press conference, hey man, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna slap the living hell out of you, they'll go in there and slap the living hell out of you. Various times, sometimes when you least expect it. But Nate Diaz is who I've been watching the most, obviously, because Nate Diaz hasn't been active for a while now. Don't really know the exact amount or the time period he's been out for. Still watch a ton of his fights, like a classic, the Anderson Silva fight. Good God, that man. Those brothers are they're OG brothers of destruction. Let me tell you that. Hold on, let me get a sip of water, dude. But anyways, wow, that was extremely rude. But I really need to get a glass of water. But anyways, so Nate Diaz, wow, you guys got to understand that these men don't obviously they go in there to win, but they go in there to entertain as well. They go in there to fight, like fight for their lives. And you know what? That's what we like to watch. That's what the crowd likes to watch. The fans, they want to see that battle. They want to feel like those guys are fighting for the death, like gladiators, dude. And honestly, when I think of gladiators, I think of the Diaz brothers. Real talk, dude. I'm gonna just give you one example that you guys cannot deny. Both fights, Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor, the fights. Nate Diaz went toe to toe with Conor McGregor just in striking, just in striking. It only went to the ground when Conor took it to the ground, and that's factual. When Conor got gas, what did he do? He go for the takedown. Uh, Dude, Nate Diaz is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Not once did that man try to take the fight to the ground. You know what? He went in there with Conor McGregor, arguably one of the best strikers the UFC has seen, and he went and beat him at his own game. That's something to say. That speaks volumes. And the second fight as well. He got knocked down twice. Conor McGregor had an amazing night that night, not taking anything away from him. He got knocked down twice, but not once did he panic and say, you know what, I'm taking this to the ground and I'm playing my game against yours. Boom, what'd he do? He lost the fight, but he still put up a hell of a freaking battle, dude. Till the end, literally till the end. That man is absolutely insane, and I freaking love it, dude. They're both insane. And that's just like he not he he's a monster, dude. I would love to meet that man and just fucking just spend a day with him and be like, holy hell, like what I want to know like what goes behind his head, dude, cuz I think like they get a lot of slack in general, both of them, for being who they are, which sucks. That generally just sucks. You see a lot of UFC fighters nowadays try to become something they're not, and they slowly start getting exposed. You know, as time goes on, true colors come out, and that's just real talk. That's just life, you know. But these guys are truly themselves, day in and day out, in the octagon, outside the octagon. However, so back to the whole like going in there and battling. That's one thing that really I felt disappointed a lot of. Well, it definitely disappointed me, the Khabib and Conor McGregor fight. That fight was extremely boring, straight up. But it was predicted. It was either Conor McGregor gets a knockout, or we're gonna see a lot of hugging and a lot of ground game and Khabib. And Khabib is known to maul people. He's known to go in there and just run through you, just lay on top of you and pound your face and rearrange your face, as he says. And Nate Diaz could have easily done that to Conor McGregor. Easily done that. Easily gassed him out exactly like Khabib did. But no, he stood in there and fought his fight, dude. Standing up. And that's one thing that's really disappointing. But every fighter is different. Every fighter is extremely different. Another person that I truly admire is Daniel Cormier for that. Daniel Cormier goes in there. He's a world-class wrestler, an elite wrestler. He's known for his wrestling. And he goes in there and fights your fight. We've seen that recently with the Stipe Miocic. And if you guys want to check that fight out, I was so excited because he's having a real close fight. I think November 3rd against Derek Lewis. I'm super excited for that fight as well. We'll get onto that very soon. But he's having a fight real soon with Derek Lewis. So when an event like that is happening, the UFC tends to put out like free fights, UFC free fights. But after the fight, they take them off, I think, because leading up to the Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor fight, that's how I was able to discover Nate Diaz. A lot of his old fights were given out for free. So the Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier, I really suggest you guys watch that fight, because that fight, it's a very short fight, but it's such a good fight. Such a good fight. But nevertheless, let me get into it. Daniel Cormier, he does the same thing. He has a mindset where, yes, I know I'm elite at wrestling. Yes, I know I can take you down and I can drop you and I can beat the living hell out of you on top of you. But no, like, you know what you want? I want to go into your game and I want to fight you. You're a striker. Okay, you know what? I can be a better striker than you. That's something that it has to be respected. That's something that takes bravery. It's already brave enough for two fighters to go in there and get at each other's throats and try to knock each other out. But the fact to step out of your comfort zone, I'm not saying he's trash at fighting. We've seen him striking before, but there's always people that are going to be better than you, and that's a fact. Until they're going to be better than you until you put in that work and reach their level. And some people are always going to be advanced. But it takes so much courage to go in there and you say, you know what? I know you have the upper hand on this, but I'm still going to go in there and I'm going to fight your fight. We saw this in the Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier fight for the title, for the heavyweight title. The champ freaking did it, dude. He did it. He went in there and knocked out a world-class striker, one of the most feared heavyweights the UFC have ever seen, because that Stipe was back-to-back. He had the most title defenses in the heavyweight division, I believe. And he did it with fashion, dude. He was knocking people out, playing smart. He was an athlete, and Daniel Cormier went in there and knocked him out in the first freaking round. Come on. If that is an inspiration, or if that is a motivation that you can literally go in there and fight a fight till the end and still come out victorious, even though the odds are stacked against you, I don't know what is. Same with Nate Diaz. That's what I get from UFC fighters a lot, because the UFC fighters that step out their comfort zone, they really inspire you to go in there, and whatever you're going through your life, they inspire me to, you know what, yes, it can be bad, but you gotta go in there head first and fight every battle you have until the very end, because you're gonna want to quit. I'm pretty sure that, dude, we see it all the time. UFC fighters get stunned, they get knocked down, and the toughest of the toughest fighters get right back up, shake it off, and going. Tony Ferguson, god damn it, dude. Tony Ferguson, one of my favorites of all time. That man is an absolute weirdo, but a weirdo that you learn to appreciate and love, dude. The Anthony Pettis versus Tony Ferguson fight. Classic. Classic. I'm getting goosebumps, dude. That fight was absolutely insane. That fight should have been the main event. That fight should have been the main event. But not just in that fight. We've seen various amounts of times Tony Ferguson push his limits, push the other fighters' limits, and he's just better at that. He's so confident in himself. It's admirable. But man, that man, he's a workhorse. He is a workhorse. There's so many people that I admire in the UFC. It's insane. How can you not admire a fighter that's willing to step in? Boxing too, but we're focusing on this UFC today. Tony Ferguson is a man that he got me into fitness straight up. Watching Tony Ferguson work out, his pre-workouts, his movements, his work ethic, that put me on, dude, straight up. That made me want to get up, get out of my ass, and go ahead and fucking lift some weights, run, do some push-ups, do something, be active. He gave me that inspiration. Anyways, that's honestly all I wanted to talk about. But to end it off, the Anthony Pettis and Tony Ferguson fight was a fight to remember. It's a fight of the year, I would say. Both men bloodied up. Tony Ferguson once again gets beat, gets hit with a really cold punch. I think it was a hook. I think it was a right hook that brought him down. You see him spinning, trying to gather himself. Anthony Pettis gets on top of him, tries to take him out, but he just can't. Tony Ferguson is so resilient. He really digs deep, and he comes back and beats you. That's a fighter right there. But nevertheless, guys, I can go on and on, but I just want to test the waters and see how this does. I probably really just don't care. I'm probably going to upload as many as I can because I like this. But yeah, man, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope I sparked some interest in the UFC or in fighters or, I don't know, in anything, man. I just wanted to sit here and talk to you guys. Remember, like I said, I keep backtracking. Like, subscribe, share the channel. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. And have an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing year. We're almost done with the year. And for the students that are going to college right now, hope you're getting the grades you want. Hope you're putting in the work that needs to be put in to get the grades you want. And yeah, man, peace.